Knox Jenkins, who said that Bill went to him and had a will drawn out. He told Judge Jenkins that the reason for him doing this will was that Patricia was consistently beating him, dragging him across the room, and that she went as far as hitting his groin area while she had on some cowboy boots. Now that sounds kind of familiar. Cowboy boots. I'm wondering, could it be the same boots that she was wearing on the night of the murder? Where it looked like, why did you have a nightgown on and boots? So Judge Jenkins said that, when Bill came for the will and talking to Bill and everything like that, he said that Bill was in his right mind, and he noticed that Bill was definitely afraid of something or someone. So that's what he noticed while Bill was around him. Oh, by the way, by the time of Bill's death, there was only $21,000 in his account. I figured y'all should know this. So it came to light that Patricia never really loved Bill. All she loved was his money. Duh. She would often drug him and lock him in different hotel rooms so that she could spend his money without being interrupted. Now, if that happens, do y'all hear the siren again? It's just going off really loud. I don't know if y'all can hear it, but good Lord. Anyways, so when that happens, like, you just wake up in your hotel room and you've been drugged because usually you have a headache or you just don't remember what happened. What do you think the conversations were like each time he woke up? Like, I just wonder what the conversations consisted of, like, whenever he woke up. That's, like, awkward. So, Patricia says that she didn't have to kill Bill. Wait, kill Bill. Anyways, now Patricia says she didn't have to kill Bill because she had power of attorney and could have transferred all his assets to her account at any time before Bill's death. However, George had gotten 3 letters that was supposed to have been signed by Bill, which they clearly weren't, requesting that all of the assets that were still in his account be transferred to Patricia, and Merrill Lynch, which was the bank where Bill's money was, refused to do this. The bank determined that they would only transfer the funds if Bill sent a letter requesting a new broker or if he completed a form requesting that all of his accounts be liquefied. Smart. Judge Jenkins testified what I'd said earlier in this story, actually, that Patricia tried to have Bill committed due to his progressive Alzheimer's and violent behavior. He also reported that Bill said, quote, she kicked him in the groin on several occasions with those pointed cowboy boots, unquote, or end quote. Other witnesses said the same thing as the judge. So it wasn't just Judge Jenkins, it was Judge Jenkins and other people. He testified that, yes, Bill was physically frail, but he didn't seem confused or violent or disoriented. He was completely competent. Now, Patricia testified that the day before Bill died, he'd found out that a friend of his had passed away. This depressed Bill, well, according to Patricia, this depressed Bill so much that he went into what she referred to as his canine behavior. She told the court that all of the wounds on Bill's body was self-inflicted while he was in, one of his times of self-mutilation. During that time, she said he beat his testicles with a shoe and then later fell in the bathtub. So remember earlier the coroner said that there's no way that the bruises were consistent with falling unless the place was like 20 feet high and he fell from that. And we all know that tubs are not that high. So she's trying to say that this is what happened. And the coroner had already said this is not what happened. So if you remember, according to Patricia, Bill had a habit of banging his naked body against the tub, and he would use a pair of pliers to pull his penis through his pants zipper. and all of this stuff. So she also added on that he would pound his testicles using a very heavy steel toe shoe. She continued to testify that she'd walked in on him beating himself with a plastic covered wedge of cheese. What? Okay. So anyways, quote, a huge piece of cheese that we'd been carrying around for a couple weeks and it was hard. End quote. Who carries around a piece of cheese for a couple weeks? What the? That doesn't... Okay, never mind. That makes no sense. She also testified that on that day, she had witnessed Bill picking at his rectum. Okay. So, he's beating himself with some hard wedge of cheese, and he's picking at his butthole. So, the rational thing that anybody would do is, this is normal. And, by the evening of that day, she was like, she just went to bed. What the oh my God. This is the dumbest thing ever. Anyways, when she woke up, she says, when she woke up, Bill was unconscious and on the floor. So Dr. Hudson also testified that he stated in his professional opinion that there was no evidence to support Patricia's claim that Bill suffered from any organic brain disorder, namely Alzheimer's disease. He said that the symptoms of dementia can also be caused by the deprivation of caring interaction. Medical examiner Price agreed with Dr. Hudson's testimony while adding that the reported behavior of mental alterations, memory loss, and confusion could also be explained by using certain drugs. One of those drugs is called, and I don't know how to say this, so let's try it, butalbital. Yeah, butalbital. And it was present in high levels in Bill's corpse. However, my question was, why didn't they mention this earlier in the autopsy report? Or maybe they mentioned it, but in my research it wasn't there. Not sure. But anyway, butalbital was present in high level in the corpse. Now, the crime scene investigation was conducted by the detective Teresa Jo Adams from the Wilson Police Department. She testified that at the time of the crime, there was an extensive blood stain on the carpet of the hotel room. She also said there was blood on the bed sheets, a blood-stained adult diaper that was hidden under a pillow, and blood under the same pillowcase. So the blood could have come from the adult diaper or it could have come from somewhere else. In the end, the defense stated that the state failed to present sufficient evidence that a deadly weapon was used to kill Bill. However, the prosecution argued that their theory was that Patricia kicked and stomped Bill's abdomen while she was wearing those cowboy boots, the ones that we keep mentioning over and over again. The evidence of this was due to the paramedics' report. Remember, the paramedic said that when he came in, he noticed that she was doing CPR, and he noticed her clothes. So she was wearing the black nightgown and these boots on her feet. So this was due to the paramedics' report of her outfit, and through the autopsy report, which said that Bill died as a result of blood loss due to the tear in the mesentery that was consistent with a kick or stomp. Also, remember that it was said that Bill's injuries were not likely sustained during a fall. So, that's why this testimony ended up tying the murder to those very same boots that we keep bringing up. So, Patricia requested the case be dismissed based on the fact that she said, I didn't do anything, he fell, he did this to himself, this and this and this. So she requested the case be dismissed, but that was denied. She was instead found guilty of first-degree murder, and she was sentenced to the death penalty. So Patricia is on death row, in the women's prison in Raleigh. But wait, there's more. You thought I was going to end there, didn't you? Well, no. So, during the trial, 5 witnesses testified about blood that was splattered on the ceiling and wall during the crime. The prosecutor had Patricia explain how the blood got there, and she said that she didn't know. Then the prosecutor began implying that she was lying. They then offered a theory that the blood on the ceiling flew from Bill's mouth while Patricia hit and stomped him. Now, the truth in this particular matter, here, the blood on the ceiling and the wall, was that there actually was never any blood. There was no blood on the ceiling and there was no blood on the wall. The FBI analyst who testified at the trial, whose name was Brenda Bissett, told the court that her initial analysis showed that there was blood on the ceiling and the wall, but she never told the court about 2 other tests confirming that the substance on the wall and the ceiling was not actually blood. So when they did this test, the initial tests they knew were prone to false positives, which is why Brenda went back and redid the test. And instead of coming to tell the court that, yeah, I redid the test and it showed that this substance wasn't blood, she instead told the court that, no, I wasn't able to do any further testing, which, was a lie. So this false blood evidence was repeated continuously during the trial because they just wanted to, get that in the juror's head, the blood everywhere, blah, 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 blah. And this was done to prove that Patricia's crime was, quote, especially heinous, atrocious, and cruel, end quote, which, with this aggravating circumstance, makes the criminal eligible for the death penalty. So, that's where all that came from. So, also, the prosecution asked in court, quote, what were they doing? Were they slaughtering chickens? There was blood everywhere in that room, end quote. So while they were repeating the, quote, evidence of the blood, they were also showing samples of like the wallpaper and diagrams of where the supposed blood splatter was. They were showing this to the court. And then during the sentencing phase, the prosecutor asked the jury, quote, remember the blood on the ceiling? Was he throwing his hands up in defense? And the blood shot up from the defensive wounds on the back of his hand? Or did she hit him so hard or stomp him so hard that it flew up from his mouth? End quote. So because of this, because of all the lies and the mistakes and everything, great system. So because of this, because of all the lies and because of all the incorrect evidence, and I don't want to say all because it's not a lot, but because of the errors and the lies and everything like that, after 23 years, Patricia ended up being taken off of death row by Superior Court Judge Waylon Sermons, and she's now instead serving life in prison. And she's currently 79 years old, so, Judge Sermons told the court, quote, our system of justice cannot tolerate the freakish result whereby one death sentence prisoner is fortunate enough to be assigned a direct appeal lawyer who raised a clearly meritorious issue, while another death sentence prisoner with the same claim is executed because her lawyer missed the issue, end quote. He then told Patricia, good luck to you, Miss Jennings, where she answered, thank you, sir. Because her crime is like really old, decades old, and it's also subject to laws that are no longer applicable, Patricia could technically become eligible for parole, but her attorneys consider this unlikely. So, that is the tale of Patricia Jennings and William Jennings. And if you like this episode, I don't know, maybe I need to tell your husband to run, or your wife to run. Maybe you need to check the shaft of your penis. Maybe you need to find out if forceps are in your house. Maybe you need to